Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillahi amma ba'd. Welcome to episode 2 of How to Achieve Happiness here on the Heart Matters podcast. And we are on the second pillar, the second matter that will help in achieving happiness, which is kindness towards the creation. Sheikh Sadi, rahimahullah, he says, being kind to creation in words and actions, and granting them all that is good and righteous are among the means and ways to eradicate depression, anxiety, and worry. Allah fends off depression and sadness from the wicked and the righteous if they are kind and generous to creation. Yet the believer gets a better share due to his kindness being generated by sincerity and awaiting Allah's reward. As a consequence, Allah makes easy for him the path of generosity and lessens the impact of hardships on account of his sincerity and anticipating Allah's reward. Allah the Exalted said, لا خير في كثير من نجواهم إلى من أمر بصدقة أو معروف أو إصلاح بين الناس ومن يفعل ذلك ابتغاء مرضة الله فسوف نؤتيه أجرا عظيما. There is no good in most of their secret talks except him who orders charity and all that is good, or reconciliation between people, and he who does this, seeking the good pleasure of Allah, we shall give him a great reward. Chapter 4, verse 114. Allah states that all these acts are righteous, and righteousness brings about all that is good and beneficial, and fends off evil. Also, Allah states that He gives the faithful believer a great reward, such as dissipating depression, worry, and sadness. The next pillar, the next foundational matter on how to achieve happiness is seeking that which is beneficial. Seeking what is beneficial. The Shaykh, rahimahullah, he says, seeking beneficial knowledge and engaging in a beneficial profession repels worries that result from anxiety and dissipate the heart's depression that consumes it. By busying the heart away from what made it depressed. In this case, one's inner self will feel at ease and his vitality will increase. This is also shared between the believer and all others. Yet, the believer is especially endowed with his faith, sincerity, and seeking Allah's reward when occupied in seeking knowledge, teaching, or indulging in the job he is performing, whether it is an act of worship or a worldly job that he does with a good intention in obedience to Allah. All this has an impressive effect with regards to repelling sadness, depression, and anxiety. and is especially important since worry and depression cause many types of illnesses. The remedy for these illnesses includes forgetting the reason that caused worry and depression by being busy performing some kind of good as we have explained. Let's talk about this a little bit because you have the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he talks about the strong believer and the weak believer. And the Sheikh, rahimahullah, he probably will bring that hadith later. I don't remember if he brought that hadith in this particular work, but he probably will bring that hadith later in the book. But the Prophet ﷺ said what is translated: the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer. But there's good in both. Ihras, strive, be diligent in seeking that which benefits you. And seek help from Allah. And do not become lazy or weak or give up. And if something befalls you, do not say, if I would have done this or if I would have done that. Because Lao opens the door for the actions of shaitan. But say, Qadarullahu wa ma sha'a fa'ala. It's the decree of Allah. He does what he wills. The end of the hadith. This is a crucial hadith in how to function in this life because we cannot divorce ourselves from the dunya because this is where we are. However, the dunya is a place of cultivation for the believer, for one who believes in Allah on the last day, meaning cultivating his or her relationship with Allah and preparing for that meeting with him. And this is the means that must be taken in order to do that. And it seems like in the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ changed the subject when he was talking about the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, but there's good in both. And then he says, strive for that which benefits you, and like this. It seems like he changed the subject. He didn't. He didn't change the subject. After he elucidated to us that the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, but there's good in both, he continued by telling an individual how to be a strong believer, which is by striving for what benefits you. Striving for what is beneficial and seeking help from Allah and not giving up, not being lazy, not being downtrodden, not being depressed. Like this, you keep going until what Sheikh Uthaymeen rahimahullah said, until it is clear that the matter that you're pursuing, that Allah makes it clear like the sun in the sky, that you should go into another direction. Until then, you keep going. And you don't get into, if I would have did this, that would have happened, because it's not like that. It is the decree of Allah. He does whatever he wills. These are matters that get rid of sadness and depression and like this. No, they make an individual happy because one, the individual is striving to please his Lord. the one who created them, the one that he's going to return to, and like this. And he is doing it to prepare for the meeting with him, and he's doing it in accordance with what he has revealed. Now, we won't make this one too long. We will end the episode here, and we will come back and we will talk about concentrating on the present. Concentrating on the present. As always, if you have any questions or comments about the Heart Matters podcast, then reach out to me at spiritualcoaching.150@gmail.com. That's spiritualcoaching.150@gmail.com. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad.